Everybody wants to sell the job. It's like, it's not the purpose.
What's the process there? How do you sell financing?
We allow you to shop. And you mentioned to me that you've never heard that before.
3 estimates. You need to talk to my father. It's not objections.
Let's say you have all these quotes. What criteria are you going to use to pick which contract you're going to go with?
Here's the advice from Better Business Bureau.
The Better Business Bureau says don't get just 3 estimates. Get 6 or 7 and then go with one of the ones in the middle.
What do you answer to that? So that's how you know you're going to pay the right price for your roof. Get 6, 7 estimate, and whoever's in the middle, I don't know if it's 3 or 4, like somewhere, that's it. So you're telling me it's $12,000. Well, Chuck, I have 6 estimates, and you're actually the highest one.
So if there are other estimates in there, it's whether I'm the highest or whatever the case may be. What I'm going to go with that is it's not about, hey, I need to get 3 estimates. I'm going to go with what we call the competitors cheaper.
Okay.
So again, I'm going to concede. I totally get it. We're never the cheapest. Now let me ask you, if we put all the estimates down next to each other and every one of them is the exact same price, which one would you choose?
I like you a lot, probably you.
Okay, and do you mind if I ask why?
Attention to the details, you're very personal.
Okay, why else?
I think you know what you're doing.
Okay, and why else?
I don't know, your reputation maybe?
I'm gonna keep them going. Mm-hmm. And what I'm doing is I'm building that difference. So if I'm 1,000, 3,000, whatever, I'm building that difference. And then I'm gonna ask them, so with everything that you mentioned, a lot of times they'll say, oh, I like your nail, I like your underlayment, I like the systems, whatever the case may be. And I say, oh, that's great. Now, don't you feel that's worth the $2,000 difference between us and the other person that you're actually considering? And they may look at you and say, yeah, which is, we all want that. But most of the time they'll say, I mean, I can probably bring it up 1,000. Okay, so it sounds like we're only $1,000 apart. How long will it take you to come up with the rest?
I see. Couple weeks.
Couple weeks? Perfect. Because today I only need half down, and I don't need any more until we've already put it in. It sounds like you can get the rest in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make a quick phone call, see what date we can get. Make sure that it's after that time that you can get that money.
I see what you did. Awesome. What about if you did not, and see, it always been get 3 estimates, but now thanks to BBB, it's 6, 7 estimates. So Chuck, you're the first one here. I listened to BBB news clip yesterday, and they told me that I have to get 6 quotes. So it'll get me like a week to get 5 more quotes. I'll call you back later when I get them.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate that. Let me ask you before I leave. When you go out and you get all these other quotes, you say you're going to get 5 other quotes? Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's say you have all these quotes and you're going to lay them on the table. What criteria are you going to use to pick which contractor you're going to go with?
I mean, price is going to be a really big deal for me.
Okay.
I mean, just see who else is there.
All right. So price is the only thing.
It's not the only, but I like to make educated decision. See what competition. I like to shop for my big purchases.
Okay. And is material, is quality, is any of that a factor?
Of course.
Okay, so can we agree that it's more value than it is price?
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Okay, okay. So after you have all those 5 estimates and you feel that our company has the most value, do you feel that you'd be able to do business with us? Would you be comfortable doing business with us?
I would.
Okay, great. Well, a couple minutes ago, we just went through our price assurance guarantee. We kind of went through the fact that we allow you to shop. And you'd mentioned to me that you've never heard that before. And the reason why is because nobody else allows you to shop after you've made the purchase. So again, we're going to allow you, once you make that purchase, we're going to allow you to shop until the day of the install, that if you find anybody that does exactly what we do and exactly how we do it, and they can do it for less than what we're going to offer you today, or that maybe we've already offered you, depending on when we're doing this, that I'm going to go ahead and refund the difference. Plus, I'm going to give you $100 for the fact that you went out and found a bunch of people that we haven't found. You remember me talking about that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think that we haven't done our homework, Dimitri?
I think you did.
Absolutely, we have. So we have a thing called a closing roadmap. And it's not just saying, here's the list of all the stuff that you can get in the house and here's how you can defeat them. It's understanding that roadmap. So you're going to get your trial closed, you're going to present the price, and then you have your stalls and excuses. And all we're trying to do is get to money. Everybody wants to sell the job. It's like, it's not the purpose. You have to get past the stall and excuse to get it to money. Because I can't deal, if you don't like me, you don't like my company, you don't like the product, I can't do anything about that. But I'm trying to get you to money. It's called money clarification. Once we get it to money, it's either value, you don't see paying what we're asking, it's affordability, you don't know how you're gonna pay for it, or it's timing, which is a lot of what we're getting right now. Just got a quick phone call, it was 2 days ago, right before Top Rep, and from a guy that was going to Top Rep, and this was pretty neat. He was going to Top Rep, he was in his truck, and he's calling me, he's saying, Chuck, how do I deal with this? And so we went through that because they were waiting for their tax return. And the guy did exactly the way that I say. He looks at him, looks at the sales guy, says, you're my guy. We're gonna go with you. I just gotta wait for that tax return. And I let him know, I says, okay, so you need to go back in and say, sir, let me get this straight. So what you're telling me is if I was sitting in front of you when you got that tax return, let's say that you got that tax return yesterday, that we'd be doing business right now. And so he calls me afterwards. He says, Chuck, it works. You know, he used a couple swear words, but I won't use those. But he says, this stuff works. And so he looked at the guy, he says, and the guy says, yeah. He said, all right, so let me ask you, if I went ahead and if we, hypothetically, we could go ahead and get that roof installed now, and I don't need anything from you until you get that money, is that something that would be of interest to you? He said, yeah, but how would you do that? We have a trade partner that allows us to do just that. We can go ahead and get it installed now. And actually, when you get that money, I don't even need it then. I want to make sure that this investment is easy and comfortable. I don't want to take anything away from you, anything away from date night. I just want to make sure this is easy and comfortable. So I don't actually need anything from you until today of next year. Do you have your driver's license on you by chance? He says, I can't believe how easy that worked. The guy handed over the driver's license. You know, I picked up, called Moment, which is his finance company, and got everything pushed through.
Love it. How many deals do you finance when people don't, when people do make big deal on a large payment, they don't have cash and has to go financing? What's the process there? How do you sell financing?
Financing is an art that everybody needs to learn. Mm-hmm. And so there's many different types of buyers. And I'll even go through it in the house. I'll say that, you know, they'll say, oh, well, we just pay cash. I totally understand. There's three types of people that use financing. First of all, it's the cash buyer that just wants to use someone else's money. Second of all, you may have saved up for it and found out it's just a little bit more than what you were expecting. And of course, there's me, that if for whatever reason my roof had an issue, I'm gonna need financing. And I always go with that. I don't care how much money I happen to have. I don't want them to feel like they're the grime on the bottom. So I say, and there's me. And so
you make them feel good about it.
Yeah.
So it's not about like, I don't have money. It's about, I'm smart with my money.
Right.
Love it.
Right. And so there's also price engineering. So if I go to my 30-day price, and let's say I'm going to offer them a 5.99% for 5 years. That's a little higher price. Maybe that's $250, $350. And so they give me an objection. I'm bringing it down to money. So then they're negotiating with me. You know, when a customer negotiates with me, I now have the right to ask for the business today. You know, if I'm going to go and enter into a negotiation. And when I negotiate, I may come down $1,000. However, I'm going to do a 5.99 for 10 years. So even though the price only came down $1,000, almost nothing for a contractor, but yet that payment went from $250 to $92. So now we're seeing a huge difference, and I'm not paying any more out of pocket because a 5-year and a 10-year, the difference between them might be a half a point in dealer fee.
Love it. So 3 estimates. And need to talk to my father. It's not objections.
Those are not objections.
So what are real objections then?
Your price is too much. I can't afford it. You know, those are the objections. That's the real reason.
And how do you overcome, I can't afford it? Like just like you did earlier with me? Like what could you?
So if someone says price too much, let me ask you, You know, if someone said to you, Dimitri, your price is too much, what does that mean?
It's more than I expected.
Okay, and any of you, if someone says price too much, what does that mean to you?
One, that they probably got a lower bid, you know, and they in their head they expected something different. And I think that's the thing in our market. Everybody expects a roof to be a couple grand, and
Right.
so.
And Brett, what does that
Education.
mean to you, price too much? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'd say there wasn't good price conditioning throughout your.
You see what I'm getting at? It doesn't mean anything. Price too much. I can go around. We had well over 100 people in the audience yesterday, and I went to 10 of them, and every one of them had a different answer. So price too much doesn't mean anything. So when someone says, "Oh man, Dimitri, your price is just too much," your answer is going to be, "Well, how do you mean?" Doris, that put a big Facebook post out. She had the whole story out, which God love her, she's great. We were entering into a house, and the guy had already tore the bathroom out. This was with a company called Rebath. And the guy looks at us and says, "Hey, your price is just too much." And she was going to jump right into justifying her price. And I looked at him, I says, "How do you mean?" He says, "Man, my daughter just got married. My son just graduated high school." He said, "I got all this stuff." I says, "Okay." So it sounds like it's not that the price is too much, that it's just right now you can't afford it. He goes, "Yeah." I says, "So you brought us out here. You wanted to take a look at everything, so you were going to pay for it somehow." He says, "Well, I was actually looking to pay for it with a bonus check." I says, "Well, when are you going to get this bonus check?" We found out through his wife that he's getting his bonus check in October. I said, "Okay, so what you're telling me," it's just like the tax return. "So what you're telling me is that," you know, so when someone says price too much, you have no idea what that means. If someone goes for the affordability, you want to make sure that you ignore the price and say, "Well, I'm guessing with affordability that you have an issue with either my down payment or my monthly payment. Which is it?" You know, those are the two things I don't want to talk about because it doesn't affect my paycheck or the profitability of the job. If someone looks at you and says, "Well, you're just really proud of that product. I mean, I just was not expecting to pay $10,000. Okay. So before I came out, how much did you think this roof was going to cost? "Well, I mean, I'm probably around 8 is what we were thinking." All right. So after I came out and I shared with you all the new technology upgrades, all the new warranties that are coming out, the new nails, you know, we're going to go all the way through all the technology upgrades. Where are you at now? And they might meet me in the middle. Sometimes they'll give us an issue. Very seldomly do they say, "Well, I really see the value." I mean, sometimes you get lucky. But if they'll come up a little bit, and let's say that from 8, you know, come up to 9. Same thing. Okay. So it looks like we only have $1,000 between us right now. How long will it take you to come up with the rest? We keep it easy and simple. It's the same thing with just about every objection. I don't want my sales reps to learn new objections for every sentence they hear.
Best vehicle for a roofing sales rep.
Best vehicle. When I first started at Able, I had a guy in a Prius. The one thing we didn't have was trucks. We had everything but trucks.
Wow.
And so that's how I
Where
was
did you work,
entered
on Mars?
Columbus, Ohio. But they had SUVs and the collapsible ladders, the telescopic ladders.
What looks the most professional to you?
The trucks.
The trucks.
I'm telling you that that brings out the professionalism. If you can have a truck or a well-outfitted SUV, where when you open it up, that you can tell it's outfitted for a roofing contractor, where it's built in. You can see all the compartments. They're sliding in their ladder. It's not they're just taking the ladder and throwing it on a seat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm a little bit disappointed, not gonna lie, but okay, I'll take that.
What was your answer gonna be?
Okay, so truck is, first of all, huge gas miles. It's not very practical for the sales. For the contractor, yes, not for the sales. I would go with a service vehicle like Ford Transit or something like that. There's quite
Yeah.
a few of them. Smaller minivan, sliding doors. You can build almost like mini showroom. That
like
always impresses me. You do and it's also a big billboard. You can put letters. For me, that screams service. I see a lot of, especially in Texas, I see a lot of trucks that, I mean, they are roofing trucks, and I don't hate, like, if it's good, clean, like, I guess for the sales, there's two ways to deal with the truck. One is to show off your truck, and then it's just like like Brent has Ford F-150. I think that looks good. If it's plain, simple, nothing to it, it means business. You know, you have 4-door, you have your numbers, you have your letter. I think that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of sales reps are showing off. And when you show up on something like that, when it's like huge tires and stuff, I don't think you have my best interest on it, because I understand that you're not about saving money to me or you. Like, it's just, that's for me. Like, I don't think we need $80,000 trucks to sell roofs. I'll put it that way.
And you definitely don't. You definitely don't.
But
You just need to look the
that's
part.
what a lot of people hear when they say like trucks. It's almost like this another measuring contest among the roofers. Like, my truck is bigger than yours, and I have all blows and whistles, and you have base model. I mean, all of that. So for me, it's like, keep it simple, I'm a very practical, for me, it's like more seats is better. I love minivans, like, truly do. And I think all my vehicles are 7 or 8 seaters. I don't understand sports cars. I hate them. Ferrari, Lambo, I mean,
I like to drive them, but I wouldn't.
I don't even like driving them. It's too low. Like, the seat is not comfortable. I mean, what to like? I'm a cruiser. I want to get in. I want to blast my music. I want to control my ride. Like, I enjoy my ride. Like,
Right.
I'm just not that kind of guy. I don't care what's on the outside. Anyway, teach me how to follow up and estimate I didn't sell.
I get this a lot, and I'm glad that you asked this. So let's say that I have a whole room full of owners, and one of the fun questions for me is, how many of you think that you have reps that are actually following up on their appointments? And typically nobody. I usually get one, and I'll say, "Oh, really? You have some reps?" "Yeah, I have this guy." "Okay, can you tell me about that purple unicorn?" Because reps, when they look at their opportunities, they're just forward focused, and they should be. I'm not saying that reps don't follow up because they're lazy. Well, they are, but they don't follow up because they're always looking for the next one. And so what they should be doing is hiring people that just follow up. That's all they do. We have some storm restoration companies where we put this certain person in, and at top rep, we give them the job description, we give them everything on how this works. But it's a complete game changer. We call it the secret position that nobody knows about. And as soon as you put this position into place, the gears just start turning even faster. And what this person does is it follows up. That person's job is to make sure that every lead continues to move forward, or it's marked dead. Because in most storm restoration companies, the biggest problem are stalled jobs. Because the sales rep, if it's not moving, if it's out of sight, out of mind, and there's all these jobs that are just sitting there, homeowners that are just waiting to be called back. The other piece of this is just understanding rehash. People come to me all the time and say, "Hey, how can I get more leads?" It's like, what are you doing with the leads you already have? You have thousands of names. What are you doing with these people? And so if you have a process, and the process has to be followed, and we literally give you everything. We give you the scripts, we give you everything. We don't sell it to anybody, it's there. And so when we look at rehash, you need a special rehash person. It's not gonna be Tanya up at the front desk. This has to be somebody that, I love collection agents because they're willing to have the tough conversation. And so they have to be very well spoken. They should be able to talk to anybody from a janitor all the way up to a CEO and talk clearly. And when they call, they're going to do a survey, a quality control survey, just to get that customer talking. And the last question they're going to ask them is, have you gotten the project? Have you already completed the project? And if they say yes, you just thank them and they get off the phone. But if they say no, then there's a whole other script of getting someone back in the house. So there's a whole process of understanding rehash. But the companies that do rehash, and these are typically retail companies, but the companies that do rehash very, very well, they will find out that their revenue, it equates to about 10 to 20% of their revenue.
Easy.
And that's just them squeezing the marketing towel.
The most important element or slide or visual, like when I'm presenting to you one-on-one, what's the most important in that sales presentation?
So when we're going through the sales presentation itself, it's the price conditioning, especially if you're retail. It's cost versus value. You can Google, I can't remember the magazine, Remodeling Magazine's Cost versus Value, to show somebody when we get to that point, and I'll tell a homeowner, I say, hey, you've been asking me how much this thing's gonna cost, and now's the time I'm gonna tell you. And we pull up the cost versus value. Like in Cincinnati, the average cost of a roof, and I'd love to meet this roofer, but the average cost of a roof is $783 a square.
Wow.
And I have yet to find this roofer, but whoever it is, I'm gonna go give him a hug. But again, you're showing that to a homeowner, you're price conditioning or price anchoring. And you're setting that price up here so that when I give price and it's down here, that they're like, oh my gosh, I am so glad it wasn't, $23,000. When I first got there, they were hoping it would be 10, and I came in at 15. So that's the most important when you're looking at that retail brand is I need to price anchor a price condition.
Okay. Why so many sales reps have addiction problems? Drinking, heavy drugs. We lost a couple reps literally not at my conference, but at other conferences in the last 3-4 years. Almost at every conference, like sales guys get together, you have cocaine, heroin in the rooms, and people die. They don't come back from roofing conference because of addiction. So the problem is real.
The problem is definitely real. First is money. They make more money than they've ever thought they could make, and they make it faster than they ever thought they could. The second is, it's kind of like the boys in the locker room. They're competitors. They compete, and so it's the adrenaline, everything that they're doing. It's just that piece of what we do, and some people can handle it. And some people,
a culture.
It can be a culture. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone in sales who's struggling with that right now? Maybe works for a big company and guys here and there doing it. Because what I see is some guys are not honest, so they do sell a lot, but you have to live with yourself. My theory is and it's not only sales guys, but it's also a lot of fake gurus. They sell you these high packages and they lie to you. A lot of times they lie to you, and usually, even guys like Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, I thought a lot to myself, like, why so much drugs? And I figured it out, because you have to live with yourself. Like, if you don't have anything in your system, your consciousness will kick in. It's like, okay, can't do it to another human being. But when you're always drugged up, you kind of like you put that consciousness down, and now you can do what you do. And that's why so many scammers, they can run away with your money because they need that drug.
Yeah.
Would you say it's taking place?
Oh, it's definitely taking place, and more than people think. It's happening inside of most teams where you can't even see it. And you'll find it when it's too late. And that's where Roofers in Recovery came in. We push it hard because we love the fact that let's not look at these people as villains. Let's help them out. I mean, they're great folks. It's just they got pushed down the wrong road. They had the wrong mentor, the wrong leader that was pushing the wrong thing.
It's like Matrix. We have to come in and get you out of it, unplug you, and now you're here in the real world.